Welcome to the Garage USA. I'm Jonathan Brinke, and today I'm at my brother's shop where they're going to be doing a brake upgrade and steering knuckle replacement on Matts Jeep Grand Cherokee. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm at my brother's shop where they are going to be doing the brake upgrade and steering knuckle on this Jeep Grand Cherokee.
All right, today we are working on the 97 Grand Cherokee again, and we're doing a steering knuckle swap and brake swap from the 97 Grand Cherokee, so the ZJ body, to the 99 through 04 Grand Cherokee, which would be the WJ body. So what we're doing is we're going bigger brakes. The steering knuckle will be changed out. We do have to do some welding and adaptation on the knuckles to make them work on this. And yeah, and now we're gonna get started.
So glad I never actually replaced my calipers.
Right.
Pull rotor off. Just kind of hang there because brake line's going to get replaced anyways.
Oh yeah, because you're doing steel brake lines on that as well.
Extended brake lines.
Extended brake lines because of the lift.
And it'll just be
Which
3 hub bolts, which are a 13 millimeter 12 point or a half-inch 12 point, and the hub nut, and unbolting the ball joints and tie rods.
And then lower ball joint is different between the two. Upper ball joint. Upper ball joint
Is different. The steering setup is different because this is what's called a Y-link. So
once we get this pulled off, you know, when we're talking Y-link to crossover. Is that a crossover?
Yep, crossover.
When we're talking Y-link to crossover, once we get it off, we'll show you what we mean on that. On the vehicle at this point may be a little bit harder to understand. But yeah, for the most part, it's lower ball joint that changes, upper ball joint that changes. On the axle is going to be the biggest thing. The 2-piston caliper from the WJ compared to a single piston caliper, this pushes it to where it'll require 16-inch wheels, where the ZJ could use 15-inch wheels. Possibly 14 Steelies, I think, fit. Nope, 15s. Just 15s?
15s.
Okay. All right. And then as we go along, we are actually also going to be doing a 4.5-inch lift on this. So there is a decent amount of projects that we're going to be doing on this one. And we will be breaking this up into different videos. Alright, so dealing with the WJ knuckles, to make the XJ knuckles work, I do have to weld this 1/4-inch spacer onto the new knuckle. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to start out by dropping in the wheel bearing, bolting it down, putting in some tacks to hold it in place, and then I'm going to pull the wheel bearing out and finish the weld. This is cast iron, and we are dealing with mild steel, which then also creates some unique welding difficulties. Cast iron, to make sure that it doesn't crack, you need to preheat the cast iron 300 to 500 degrees. Get it hot. Weld more on the steel versus the cast, because steel has a higher melting temperature than cast. Cast also isn't nearly as flexible as steel. So as you're welding, once you get done, peen it, post heat, keep it hot. You're going to do roughly an inch at a time as you're doing this, and then you're going to, once again, get it 350, 400 degrees or so, and you're going to want to slowly cool it down. So I'm going to be actually wrapping these in fiberglass blankets and letting them cool down. Listen for any pinging. You shouldn't be hearing any of that. It's cooling down too fast and cracking if you hear any of that. All right, so I'm going to get started. All right.
That should be plenty for a tack weld.
All right.
Welder needs to get turned on still.
Yep, I'll handle that. Welder's on. Pretty good for attack. To that, just to get nice and warm. All right, so we got one started. Now we've got 3 more tacks to do, and then we're going to weld. All right, so now I have my 3 tack welds in. Now I need to preheat the rest of this to, 300 to 500 degrees. Now when I'm doing this, I'm going to be just welding roughly about an inch at a time. You want to do a straight weld. Don't try to stitch it. Once again, you want to do more on the steel, put the heat more into the steel than the cast iron. Alright, you can probably kill that.
Go. You are going way too fast.
I am. Come back in. Let's clean that real quick. All right, so now that we're waiting for the steering knuckles to cool down, I do need to remove both ball joints, because this is a ball joint that switches over to the WJ ball joint, the newer style ball joint. But to do that, I need to pull this one out first so I can get this one out. And then we're putting in all new ball joints after that. All right, so earlier I had mentioned about Y-link steering and about how I would show you the difference once we got it out. It would make a little bit more sense. So that comes from the steering, the steering gearbox, which runs down. This is actually the passenger side tie rod. So it connects up to the passenger side tie rod. You have an adjustment sleeve and then the driver's side tie rod. This will add a decent amount of slop and, you know, not the greatest steering setup. It's what I prefer to call vague steering. Definitely not a precise setup. And now we already actually have it hooked up. I'll show you where we're at and why the WJ steering is actually better. Alright, so first off, so this is the bigger brake setup for the WJ steering. These are actually the Akabono brake calipers from the WJ, so this would be the later WJ calipers. The original calipers had some issues with not staying square. I want to say that these started, the Akabonos I think started in 2002 and then ran to 2004. So back when I had my WJ, which was a 2001, I had the other style caliper, which used a support spring across the front. It's been a while. I haven't owned that thing in probably 10 years now. But yeah, much bigger. For comparison,
I have a little brake fluid come out of that.
yep, this is the old one, which is actually significantly smaller. Single piston caliper versus dual piston. Inch larger brake rotor. Alright, now back onwards to the steering setup. Alright, so first off, you have the crossover steering. So this will actually run to the driver's side. This one connects up to the steering gearbox. Now these are actually aftermarket sleeves. I believe JKS.
JKS Manufacturing.
Okay, JKS.
They aren't listed as use for the WJ, but they're listed for the TJ, MJ, and XJ. But they all use the same steering components to begin with, so they fit perfectly.
Yeah, it's the same axle width.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do actually drop in. It will give us the adjustments that we need. And let's slide this across. Alright. So yeah, so it goes up, connects up with the steering gearbox. And links up over there. This is actually the side I've been working on. I still have some assembly left. I need to actually remove the old line yet, because these are getting braided lines. Yeah, and once again, it's like the whole caliper would fit inside that mounting bracket with room. Alright, now I'm going to get this side assembled. Alright, so now we got the WJ brakes on the ZJ and the steering setup done. We do have the braided lift line. This is actually for 4 to 7 inch lift, 8 inch lift. All right, we do have the 4 to 8 inch lift braided line. that we put in here as well. I do have the steering wheel set to where it is straight. It still will need an alignment, but this part is done, and now we're going to start tackling the rear axle. So this will conclude this video. So if you watched it this far, thanks for watching, and have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'd like to thank you for watching The Garage USA. I'm Jonathan Brinke, and I'll see you next time.